I think part of why Kamal is getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public. Between Diddy and Epstein, there's probably several thousand hours of footage here.
I ask you to pay attention to this important point. In our work, we do not use full names. It's a rule to protect the investigations and maintain the anonymity of those involved until a court declares someone guilty. We don't do it to protect them, but to prevent outside influences on justice. We will use abbreviations for privacy and to respect the process. Anyway, I'm sure you already know who I'll be talking about. When you work for someone like D, you quickly learn that the world is not what it seems. They tell you it's all about luxury and glamour, private jets, champagne showers, celebrities laughing under golden chandeliers. But that's not the world I saw. The real world, the one behind the velvet rope, was darker, much darker. I was just another shadow in the room, there to serve, to smile, to disappear. But even shadows have eyes, and what I saw still keeps me up at night. It all started falling apart with ED. She wasn't the woman you thought she was. None of them are. She was always at the parties, loud, happy, her voice booming over the music. But there was something strange about her. Something empty. I remember the last time I saw her. She was standing on the edge of one of Dee's infamous gatherings, gripping her glass so tightly I thought it might break. Her eyes were darting around the room as if looking for something, or someone. And then she disappeared. Not just from the party, from everything. No more talk shows, no more red carpets. She was simply gone. When the photos of her in that dingy pub in England surfaced, looking like a ghost of herself, I understood. At first, people said it was because of politics. She couldn't handle the state of the country, they said. But those of us close to Dee knew it wasn't that. She wasn't running from the government. She was running from something else, something that terrified her more than anything. Dee's parties were legendary. People would kill to get an invite. Celebrities, billionaires, politicians, they all came. But these weren't your usual Hollywood parties. They were strange. The later the night got, the stranger things became. I'm talking about rooms you weren't allowed to enter, whispers in the hallways, and rituals that gave me chills. And E? She was always there, laughing, drinking, pretending not to notice what was going on. But I knew she saw it. Everyone saw it, but they pretended not to. I overheard her once late at night talking to Dee in one of those secret rooms. I shouldn't have been there, but I couldn't avoid it. Her voice was trembling. "This is too much," she said. "They'll find out." Dee just laughed softly and deeply. "They won't," he said. "They wouldn't believe it even if they did." I'll never forget the look on her face when she came out of that room. She looked tormented, like she had seen something she couldn't explain, something she couldn't forget. ST was one of the kindest people I'd ever met. He had this energy, like he could light up any room he entered. But at Dee's parties, even T seemed uncomfortable. He kept to himself, observing from the corners, as if he didn't want to be there. Then, one night, everything changed. The rumors started circulating almost immediately. The music was loud, the lights were too bright, and the air was thick with something I couldn't name. T was there, but he wasn't dancing. He was watching, observing. I didn't think much of it at the time, but later I heard the rumors. They said T had found a tape, a recording of one of Dee's secret meetings. I don't know what was on it, but the things people were saying, I can't even repeat them. They talked about shadows moving in impossible ways, laughter turning into screams, people doing things no human should ever do. T tried to warn people. He told someone, maybe a friend, maybe the wrong person. A week later, he was dead. They called it suicide, but I knew. We all knew. T didn't kill himself. He had gotten too close to the truth, and someone made sure he stayed silent. JR and EM didn't belong to this world, not really. But they saw the cracks. They started asking questions, connecting the dots. When R started talking about D on his podcast, my heart stopped. He didn't know what he was dealing with. None of them did. Though, M knew. He didn't say much, just cryptic tweets and knowing smiles. In Hollywood, more things happen than people believe, he said in an interview. But his eyes, they were the eyes of someone who had seen the other side of the curtain, someone who knew what awaited them there. They talked about E, about T, about O, about the things that happen when the cameras stop rolling. They didn't say everything. They couldn't. But they said enough to make people listen, enough to make people question. O was untouchable. At least that's what everyone thought. She was more than a celebrity, she was an institution. But even the most powerful can fall. Her connection with D wasn't a secret. She was a regular at his parties, always by his side. But there was something more, something darker. I remember hearing her name whispered in connection with those infamous freak-off gatherings. They weren't parties. They were rituals. It's the only word I can think of. And O wasn't just a guest. She was a participant. Then there was the healer, JG. She called him a healer. But the truth, he was a monster. And O knew it. She had to know. You don't get to her level without knowing everything about everyone. But she stayed silent. Just like she stayed silent about the scandals at her school in South Africa. Just like she stayed silent about D. And now, she's gone too. She fled the country just like E. They say it's because of T. But I know it's not that. They're running. From what? I don't know. But it's coming for them. LDAK. 2 more names, 2 more shadows running from the light. L's move to Italy seemed harmless enough. Just another celebrity retreating to a villa. But the timing was too perfect. Right when D's empire started to crumble, L disappeared. And A? He's been acting strange for years. Defending people he shouldn't defend. Laughing off questions about D's parties. I've seen that laugh before. It's the laugh of someone who's seen too much and can't forget. The last time I saw D, he was a different man. The security was gone, replaced by something I can only describe as fear. He looked at me, really looked at me and said, "You think you know what's going on? You don't. None of you do." I wanted to ask him what he meant, but I didn't. I couldn't. Because deep down, I already knew. Hollywood wasn't just a place where stars were made. It was a place where secrets lived, where darkness thrived. And those who got too close to the truth? They didn't last long. Now, as I sit here writing this, I feel like I'm being watched. By those who know the truth. By those who make people disappear. If you're reading this, take it as a warning. Hollywood isn't just a dream factory. It's a nightmare, and the deeper you go, the darker it gets. If you're reading this, take it as a warning. Stay away from the parties. Stay away from the secrets. And whatever you do, don't look behind the curtain. You might not like what you find.